Somewhere in Kuala Lumpur, a woman opens Instagram and scrolls through photographs of two teenagers she has not held in over a decade. The boy wears a school uniform inside the world's largest residential palace. 1,788 rooms, 564 chandeliers, a $3 billion monument to absolute power. The girl looks increasingly like her mother. Their mother writes birthday captions addressed directly to them, hoping they might somehow read the words. She was once a princess consort of Brunei. She was stripped of every title, every medal, every decoration, and then, reportedly, her children. The captions are always public. They have to be. According to Azrinaz Mazhar Hakim, she has not been able to see Prince Abdul Wakeel or Princess Ameerah Wardatul Bolkiah in person since their father, Sultan Hassanal Bolkiah, the 29th Sultan of Brunei, one of the last absolute monarchs on the planet, divorced her on national television in 2010. The children were 4 and 2 years old. They are now young adults. And the only bridge between a mother in Malaysia and her children inside a sealed Bruneian palace appears to be an Instagram caption, and the uncertain hope that someone, somewhere inside those 1,788 rooms, might let them see it. In September 2025, a fan account created AI-generated images showing Azrinaz standing beside her 2 eldest children, digitally fabricated family photographs that do not exist in reality. Azrinaz responded on Instagram with a single line, "Speechless. This beautiful reunion fills my heart." An artificial intelligence had produced the closest thing she had to a family portrait in 15 years. That is not a footnote in a celebrity gossip column. That is evidence. And to understand how a mother ended up communicating with her own children through captions and AI-generated photographs, you have to go back to a newsroom in Kuala Lumpur and a decision that traded a career built on speaking for a position that would eventually require her silence. Azrinaz Mazhar binti Hakim Mazhar was born on the 23rd of September, 1979, in Kuala Lumpur. Her father was Hakim Mazhar bin Muhammad Johar. Her mother was Fauzia binti Abdullah Mansour. There was no aristocratic lineage, no royal connection, no political dynasty behind the family name. Azrinaz studied broadcasting at the Malaysian Institute of Integrative Media, also known as Academy TV3, and graduated in 1997. She went straight into professional work at Sistem Television Malaysia Berhad, the country's leading private television network, where she appeared on the Bulletin Pagi morning news, the Berita Terkini breaking bulletins, and the Bulletin 1:30 afternoon segment. In 2000, at age 21, she won TV3's Most Promising Journalist Award. 2 years later, the Institute gave her its Alumni Award. She was building something real, a public career, a recognized name, an identity she owned. Then, in May 2005, she left TV3. The official reason she gave was that she wanted to venture into other undertakings. 3 months later, those undertakings became clear. On the 20th of August 2005, Azrinaz married Sultan Hassanal Bolkiah in a private ceremony at Rumah Awang Alak Bertatar, the Sultan's official residence in Kuala Lumpur. She was 26. He was 59. A 33-year age gap. The wedding was meant to stay entirely invisible, family members and close friends only. No press, no public announcement. It lasted 2 days before a guest leaked the news to Malaysian media. The palace confirmed on the 24th. The woman who had once appeared on Malaysia's screens delivering breaking news had entered a system where public speech about the monarchy could result in a criminal sedition charge. To understand the scale of what she entered, you need to understand the man and the machine behind him. Sultan Hassanal Bolkiah became the 29th Sultan of Brunei on the 5th of October, 1967, when his father, Sultan Omar Ali Saifuddin III, voluntarily abdicated. He was 21 years old. His coronation took place on the 1st of August 1968. For the next decade, his father remained the power behind the throne, but after the old sultan's wife died in 1979, the father withdrew from public life, and Hassanal Bolkiah assumed full control. When Brunei gained complete independence from Britain on the 1st of January 1984, the Sultan became not just head of state, but simultaneously Prime Minister, Minister of Defence, Minister of Finance, and Commander-in-Chief of the Royal Brunei Armed Forces. He holds every one of those positions to this day. In 2006, he reportedly amended the constitution to make himself legally infallible under Bruneian law. No court can prosecute him. No legislature can overrule him, because there is no elected national legislature. A rolling state of emergency has been in effect since the Brunei Revolt of 1962, more than 60 years without interruption. The country's main English-language newspaper, the Borneo Bulletin, is controlled by the Sultan's family. Freedom House categorizes Brunei's media as not free. Reporters Without Borders has ranked Brunei's press freedom as low as 153 out of 180 countries, below Russia, below Myanmar. Criticizing the monarchy is not merely discouraged, it is a criminal offense that can result in imprisonment for sedition. His personal wealth has been estimated at anywhere between $20 and $50 billion, depending on the source and year. Forbes once listed him as the richest individual on the planet. His residential palace, Istana Nurul Iman, Light of Faith Palace, covers 200,000 square meters of floor space, 1,788 rooms, 257 bathrooms, 564 chandeliers, 51,000 light bulbs, 44 stairwells, 18 elevators, 5 swimming pools, a 110-car garage housing part of a collection reportedly exceeding 7,000 vehicles valued at around $5 billion, a private mosque that holds 1,500 worshippers. The palace was designed by Filipino architect Leandro Locsin and cost approximately $3 billion to construct. It serves simultaneously as a private home, the seat of government, and the Prime Minister's office. It opens to the public for roughly 3 days a year during Hari Raya Idul Fitri, when an estimated 110,000 visitors walk through the grounds and receive small envelopes of money from the Sultan. The rest of the year, the doors are sealed. This is where Azrinaz's 2 eldest children have lived since she was sent back to Malaysia. And the hierarchy she entered was not empty. The Sultan's first wife, his paternal first cousin, was Queen Saleha, formerly titled Raja Istri Pangeran Anak Haja Saleha. They married on the 28th of July 1965, when both were teenagers. She became Queen Consort when he ascended to the throne 2 years later and was crowned on the 1st of August 1968. She held every major patronage: the Brunei Darussalam Women's Council, the Women's Institute, the Girl Guides Association, and numerous welfare organisations. She occupied the highest ceremonial position at every state function. 6 children with the Sultan: Princess Rashida, born 1969, Crown Prince Al-Muqtadi Billah, born 1974, Princess Majida, Princess Hafiza, Prince Abdul Malik, and one other. Queen Saleha was permanent. She was the institution. Everyone else who married the Sultan existed beneath her, And the gap was not a matter of personality or preference. It was architecture. Azrinaz was not the first woman to occupy that lower tier. Before her, there was Mariam Abdul Aziz. And what happened to Mariam, and especially what happened to Mariam's children, is the knife that makes Azrinaz's story bleed. Mariam's own background carried its own strangeness. Her father was born Jimmy Bell, a man of Scottish and Japanese descent who converted to Islam and took the name Abdul Aziz when he married Pengiran Rashida, a woman of Brunei and Malay descent. Jimmy Bell worked as a civil servant in the Royal Customs and Excise Department. His daughter Mariam attended Sultan Omar Ali Saifuddin College in Brunei town and then spent 6 years as a flight attendant for Royal Brunei Airlines. She met the Sultan around 1980 and on the 28th of October, 1981, she became his second wife. She was given the title Pengiran Isteri, Princess Consort, the same title Azrinaz would later receive. Over 21 years of marriage, Mariam bore 4 children: Prince Abdul Azim in 1982, Princess Azima, Princess Fadzila, and Prince Abdul Mateen in 1991. Her portraits hung alongside the Sultan's and Queen Saleha's on government and business office walls across the nation. For 2 decades, Mariam was visible, photographed at Apex summits beside Bill Clinton, present at state banquets, standing in the frame of Brunei's official image as a modern Islamic monarchy. Then, in February 2003, the Sultan's brother, Prince Sufri Bolkiah, appeared on state television and announced that the Sultan was divorcing Mariam. Some contemporaneous reports describe the grounds as nusyuz, an Islamic legal term meaning a wife's disobedience or opposition to her husband's will, though the official palace statement did not explicitly use the word. Her royal titles were stripped immediately. Her portraits came down from walls across the country. The visual erasure was swift and thorough. One day, she was beside the Sultan on government office walls. The next, the frames held only 2 faces. But here is where the comparison begins to cut, and it cuts deeper the longer you look. Mariam lost her title. She did not lose her children. Prince Mateen, Princess Azima, and Princess Fadzila reportedly spent significant time with their mother. They maintained visible, documented contact. They continued performing full royal duties inside the palace. Princess Azima married her cousin, Prince Bahar ibn Jeffrey Bolkiah, at Istana Nurul Iman in January 2023. And on the 7th of January 2024, Prince Mateen, Mariam's youngest son, a polo player with over 4 million Instagram followers, a major in the Royal Brunei Air Force, married Anisha Rosna binti Adam in a 10-day ceremony broadcast to the world from the throne hall of Istana Nurul Iman. Heads of state from Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines, and Singapore attended. Portraits of the couple appeared on billboards across Bandar Seri Begawan. Thousands of Bruneians lined the streets for the procession. The wedding was magnificent, joyful, and completely public. The son of a divorced, title-stripped ex-wife was celebrated inside the very palace from which his mother's name had been removed. The system did not erase Mariam's children. It embraced them. Same palace, same sultan, same divorce mechanism. A radically different outcome for the mother's access to her children. And that contrast is not a minor footnote. It is the central cruelty of Azrinaz's story. For a brief window, the palace machinery appeared to be absorbing Azrinaz the same way it had absorbed Mariam. On the 1st of June 2006, she gave birth to Prince Abdul Wakeel in Bandar Seri Begawan. The pregnancy had been kept entirely secret, and the Bruneian public learned of the child only when a 21 cannon salute thundered from the vicinity of Istana Nurul Iman. rattling the air around a palace built to hold secrets inside gilded walls. 8 days later, on the 9th of June, the Sultan formally conferred on Azrinaz the title Duli Yang Teramat Mulia Paduka Seri Pinggiran Istri Azrinaz Mazhar, Her Royal Highness Princess Consort. She was awarded the Royal Family Order of the Crown of Brunei, State Decorations and Medals of Honour. In July 2006, she appeared at the Sultan's 60th birthday celebrations wearing a diamond tiara, standing among the royal family in formal attire inside the palace. Getty Images captured the moment, the tiara catching light, the protocol visible, the positioning precise. She stood beside Queen Saleha and the Sultan, visible, permitted, temporary. On the 28th of January 2008, Princess Ameerah Wardatul Bolkiah was born. 2 royal children in less than 3 years. Both pregnancies had been kept secret until after the births, the palace deciding what the nation knew and when. In March 2007, Azrinaz had co-hosted a state banquet at Istana Nurul Iman for Malaysian Prime Minister Abdullah Ahmad Badawi's official visit, standing beside the Sultan and Queen Saleha as they received diplomatic guests. In 2008, she attended Girl Guides Association events alongside senior royals. Photographs from these occasions show her in traditional baju kurung, participating in the protocol-heavy choreography of Brunei's conservative Islamic court. But even in those photographs, the hierarchy never shifted. Queen Saleha held precedence in every frame. The junior wife stood beside, never ahead. Azrinaz had no independent public engagements. No solo diplomatic travel was ever documented. No patronage network of her own. The journalist who had built a career on being seen and heard on Malaysian television had entered a system where visibility was a permission granted from above and withdrawn on the same terms. She wore the diamond tiara. She did not control the door it opened. And then the door closed. On the 16th of June 2010, a Wednesday evening during the FIFA World Cup, the Brunei state broadcaster RTB interrupted its programming for what had been announced as a special broadcast. By some accounts, more Bruneians tuned in for the announcement than for the football match airing at the same time. The Grand Chamberlain declared that the Sultan had divorced Azrinaz Mazhar Hakim. The reason given was a single phrase that has never been expanded upon. Special reasons which are only known to their majesties. Every title was revoked. Every state decoration was withdrawn. Every medal was cancelled. The Royal Family Order of the Crown of Brunei, the honour that had symbolised her acceptance into the dynasty, was annulled. In one broadcast, delivered in the time it takes to read a paragraph, the identity she had been given 5 years earlier ceased to exist. The children, Prince Abdul Wakeel, age 4, and Princess Ameerah, age 2, kept their royal titles. They remained in Brunei under their father's full custody. Their mother returned to Malaysia. No public court hearing was documented. No custody ruling was published. No explanation of terms was offered. Under Brunei's application of Islamic Sharia family law, a husband may pronounce talaq, a unilateral divorce declaration, without formal court adjudication. The Sultan's constitutional infallibility meant no legal action against him could proceed. The absence of an elected national legislature meant there was no political body to scrutinise the arrangement. The sedition laws meant public criticism was a criminal risk. The controlled media environment meant domestic coverage was factual, brief and careful. When Global Voices, an international media site, documented the online reaction in Brunei, the pattern was clear. Bruneian bloggers and Twitter users expressed sadness but avoided any direct criticism of the Sultan. Self-censorship was not a choice made in the dark. It was a rational response to a legal system in which the monarch's word was literally law. Azrinaz has never publicly criticised the Sultan, not in an interview, not in a caption, not in a legal filing. Whether that silence is personal dignity, cultural expectation, legal pragmatism, or something structurally enforced by the environment she left behind is an open question. And, in Brunei, asking the question itself carries risk. Malaysian media reported the divorce factually and briefly. International outlets, the Sydney Morning Herald, The Independent, and Fox News noted the 5-year marriage, the 33-year age gap, and the former journalist's background. Nobody dug deeper. Because in an absolute monarchy, there is nothing deeper to dig into. There is one announcement, one phrase, and then silence. But the cruelest dimension was not the divorce. Divorces end marriages. What followed ended something else. According to Azrinaz, she has not been able to see her children in person since the broadcast. Prince Wakeel was 4 years old. Princess Ameerah was approximately 2. They are now 20 and 18. They have grown up entirely inside Istana Nurul Iman, attended the international school Brunei, appeared at national ceremonies, and lived the only life the palace has permitted them to know. Their mother has lived 1,500 kilometers away, across the South China Sea in Kuala Lumpur. There is no publicly documented visit, no reported phone call, no confirmed letter delivered. The children carry the Bolkiah name. Their mother carries a Malaysian passport and a former title that exists now only in newspaper archives. And the comparison with Mariam's children does not fade with time. It sharpens. Mariam was Bruneian. She had 21 years of marriage behind her. Her brother, Sultan Abdul Aziz, held a Pehindato title, an honorific embedded inside Brunei's domestic power structure. Her family had internal connections, institutional weight. Azrinaz was Malaysian. She had 5 years. She had no Bruneian family network, no internal political leverage, no institutional history inside the court. When the title was removed, she had nothing holding her to the country that held her children. Mariam's son got a 10-day wedding broadcast globally. Azrinaz's children remain comparatively invisible, known primarily through the few palace photographs their mother reposts on an Instagram account they may or may not have access to. Why did the same system, the same sultan, the same divorce mechanism produce such different outcomes for a mother's access to her children? Was it the difference between a Bruneian wife and a Malaysian one? The difference between a 21-year marriage and a 5-year marriage? The difference between a family with Brunei court connections and a family from a Kuala Lumpur newsroom? The palace has never said. And in Brunei, nobody is allowed to demand an answer. So Azrinaz found the only channel that remained open. Her Instagram account, at Azrinaz Mazhar Hakim, carries over 540,000 followers and more than 3,000 posts. Every year on her children's birthdays she posts. She reposts photographs of them from palace events she was not present for, images taken by palace photographers, shared on Brunei state media or royal social accounts, photographs of her own children at ceremonies she cannot attend. She writes captions addressed directly to them. In January 2025, she posted for Princess Ameerah's 17th birthday. 51,000 people liked it. Hundreds commented. In June 2025, she wrote about Prince Wakeel, describing him as Buddhiman, virtuous, sharing a photograph from a royal public appearance. She called him her son. She told him she was proud. She tagged no palace account. She expected no reply. She used the Malay words "Mommy tak pernah lupa," Mummy never forgot. The post sits in her public feed, visible to 540,000 strangers and, theoretically, to 2 children in a palace across the sea. Whether those children have ever seen the posts is unknown. Whether they have unrestricted access to social media inside the palace is unknown. Whether they know their mother writes to them every year, in public, because there is reportedly no private channel remaining, that is unknown too. The palace has never commented. Prince Wakeel and Princess Ameerah have no verified public social media accounts of their own. The silence is not a gap in the story. The silence is the story. And the machinery that produced this silence has not stopped turning. In 2003, the system stripped the second wife's titles. In 2010, the third wife's. And in August 2026, within the last several days, the Sultan stripped royal titles from his own daughter-in-law, Pengiran Rabiatul Adawiyah, the wife of Prince Abdul Malik, citing unbecoming conduct. No divorce was announced alongside the decree. No specific incident was publicly identified. No explanation was offered beyond the phrase itself. The royal correspondent, reporting on the event, noted that this case was historically unique. Previous title revocations had always accompanied a divorce. This one stood alone. The pattern is not a series of isolated decisions. It is a system. The monarchy's ability to grant a woman her royal identity by decree and revoke it by the same authority, without public justification, without judicial review, without appeal, extends beyond ex-wives to any woman married into the family at any level. The mechanism is permanent, active, and expanding. What makes Azrinaz's case the cruelest iteration is not the title revocation. Titles can be survived. Names can be rebuilt. Azrinaz did rebuild. 8 years after the divorce, on the 1st of May 2018, Labor Day, she married Feroz Khan Abdul Hamid, a longtime friend and Malaysian entrepreneur, in a private ceremony held at her own house in Kuala Lumpur. Not a palace. Not a state occasion with chandeliers and diplomatic guests. Her own home, surrounded by friends and family who chose to be there. She had 2 daughters with Feroz, Arasia Malaika, born on the 15th of September 2019 at Gleneagles Hospital in Kuala Lumpur, and Athira Medina, born on the 26th of March 2021 at the same hospital. She announced the second pregnancy on Instagram at 7 months, writing, "Pink or blue, what to adore, here we go with my number 4. Number 4, 2 children she could hold, 2 she could not. She can raise these 2 daughters, she can walk them to school, she can watch them grow." But across the South China Sea, roughly 1,500 kilometers northeast, her first 2 children remain inside a palace she reportedly cannot enter. She can parent 2 children in Kuala Lumpur. She reportedly cannot reach the 2 in Bandar Seri Begawan. The second family does not replace the first. It exists alongside the absence of the first, and the shape of that absence does not shrink with new joy. It sits beside it. In 2023, Azrinaz's father, Hakim Mazhar, died after undergoing dialysis for kidney issues. She mourned publicly on Instagram, writing that she cried every night. Whether her children in Brunei, his grandchildren, were able to attend the funeral, or whether they had ever met their Malaysian grandfather during the decade-plus separation, is not publicly documented. Nobody reported their presence. Nobody confirmed their absence. The question hangs in the space between 2 countries and 2 systems, one that permits a mother to grieve openly on social media, and one that controls the movements of royal children so thoroughly that even a grandfather's funeral exists behind a wall of silence. The monarchy, meanwhile, continues to present its public face. During Hari Raya Idul Fitri, the Sultan opens Istana Nurul Iman to the public and personally distributes money to an estimated 110,000 visitors over 3 days. Brunei citizens pay no income tax. Education and healthcare are provided by the state. Oil and gas revenues sustain a social contract in which the population receives material comfort, and, in exchange, the monarchy receives loyalty and the absence of dissent. The system functions. For most Bruneians, it functions well. It is not difficult to see why criticism of the royal family is rare, why domestic interest in a former consort's custody situation is muted, and why Azrinaz's Instagram captions generate more engagement from Malaysian followers than from Bruneians. The Sultan's authority is not maintained only by emergency laws and sedition charges. It is maintained by an ecosystem of prosperity in which questioning royal family matters feels unnecessary, inappropriate, and quietly dangerous. The palace gives cash to 110,000 people. It does not give explanations to former wives. But the captions keep appearing. Every birthday, every year. In June 2025, Azrinaz posted for Prince Wakeel's birthday. She shared a photograph, not one she took because she was not there. A photograph from a royal public appearance, the kind distributed through palace channels or circulated on Brunei social media accounts. She wrote in the caption, directly, to a son she reportedly has not held since he was 4 years old. She called him Budiman. She said she was proud. She tagged no one in the palace. She expected no reply. The post sat in her public feed, visible to strangers, to commenters, to journalists, to anyone with an internet connection. And, perhaps, to a young man inside a palace with 1,788 rooms, 564 chandeliers, and 51,000 light bulbs, if someone, somewhere inside that structure allowed him to see it. Nobody knows if he has. The palace has never commented. The silence is architectural. It is built into the walls of a system where one man holds every title, every ministry, every judicial appointment, every constitutional protection, and the sole authority to decide which mothers see their children and which do not. 564 chandeliers still hang inside Istana Nurul Iman. 1,788 rooms still spread across 200,000 square meters. A prince who is now 20 and a princess who is now 18 carry the Bolkiah name, hold their places in the line of succession, and live inside the most expensive private residence ever constructed on Earth. 1,500 kilometers southwest, in a house in Kuala Lumpur, their mother opens an app, finds a photograph she did not take, and writes a caption she is not sure they will ever read. The diamond tiara is gone. The title is gone. The 21 cannon salute is a memory. The palace is still closed. The caption is still there. Mommy never forgot. The palace never replied.